I think 2026 is going to be a very interesting year for anyone who's building businesses with AI, especially for solopreneurs, creators, small businesses. Not because the tools will suddenly get better, they already are. They will get better, that's a fact. But I think it's because the way we use AI will change. And, I'm a big advocate for AI. I'm a AI solopreneur. I use AI. I build income streams with AI. I educate people in AI because this is where my skills and my passion intersect. Right now, the conversation is still very much heavily about speed, automation, scale, how much can you outsource, how much can you replace. But I think we are going to have more conversations about, is that actually that simple? Main narrative I see is the more the better. When I take a bit of a cultural context, what's happening around this in society, I think the conversations we are going to be having are also going to be different. So in this video, I want to share my AI predictions for 2026, not from the perspective of a big tech or which model is the best, but from the lens of a person who is building a one-person business with AI. It's going to be very practical. It's going to go beyond AI because we need that context to place it in. So if you're a creator, coach, solopreneur, online business owner, now is the time when we all setting goals and intentions for the next year. And I think some of those predictions can actually shift how you think about next year, what you prioritize, what you build, and how you position yourself and your business. So I think it's a good timing. The predictions will come in no particular order. Let's jump into the first prediction. Number one is the rise of personal software. What do I mean by that? I think we're going to go from choosing apps or paying for apps to creating the apps that we need for our life, for our work. So basically, personal software are the tools that you would vibe code that are suitable for you personally, for your lifestyle, for solving specific needs and problems that you have, for removing friction in your life. So if you're not familiar with vibe coding, is basically explain to a tool what you want to build without having to know how to code, and it will build that for you. So it will create a fully functional application for you. It can be an app, a dashboard, you can build workflows, you can build internal tools, and you don't need any traditional coding skills. So why is this so important and why am I so excited about it? Most software is built for scale, for teams, for corporations. If you're a solopreneur, you have your unique brain, rhythm, life, and way of working. So instead of constantly adopting to software, you can actually finally make the software that adapts to you. So a couple of examples what that could be. It could be a whole productivity software that is so personalized to you. You literally have it in your brain already, right? You can just go to Lovable, Gemini, Claude, whatever you prefer, and you can just tell it what you want to create, the exact steps that it should follow. So if you're someone who has a lot of ideas and they're scattered all over the place, maybe you have ADHD, right? You have a very unique way of experiencing things. So why not create a software that is perfect for that? And I think what a lot of people, when they get into vibe coding, because there's so much like you can create an app, sell the app, and create this revenue, which is fantastic business model. But I think the simplest way to start is to solve your own problem or a tiny friction you have and create an app for that. I can guarantee that most likely there's going to be so many people that are looking for exact same thing. So if you're sharing the journey of building that for yourself, you share that with your community, with your friends, on social media, you will find more people that would want to try it. In this way, it becomes this kind of natural monetization potential. Personally, I've already built this kind of productivity flow for capturing my ideas, a way of taking notes that really works for me. I already canceled a couple of apps that I've been using previously. If I can so easily create a tool that will just support me, why would I go and pay for other tools? I think personal software is going to be huge. The easier it will be to do is for people who don't have technical backgrounds. It's already really easy, but I think it's going to be even easier. Okay, so my prediction number two is that trust becomes competitive advantage. And Like, it's not the revolutionary prediction. We've been seeing that for a couple of years. If personal brand is important for your business, which it should be, then trust is becoming increasingly important. So why is this increasingly important? I think that in 2026 it will kind of hit the tipping point. Well, because social media is now probably 80% AI generated slop. The image generating models are so good that it's impossible to really distinguish the real picture from AI generated picture. So when all of those things happening simultaneously, when the model's becoming better, when you can really stop trusting what your eyes see, right? When you can't trust anymore, it doesn't mean that trust becomes less important. It's the opposite, right? Trust becomes even more important. So when we are in the position where we don't trust anything, we long for places where there is a verified human connection that can be built. So why do I have a beef with the AI avatars, AI clones, and those kind of things? Do I think it's bad AI tools? Absolutely not. But I think without using them intentionally and just fully outsourcing you, creating clones of yourself that sort of populate your social media, it's more damaging than helpful to your business in most cases. So if you're a brand, if you're a personal brand, this trust is fragile. If you replace yourself and your audience see that it's an AI avatar talking to them instead of you, the trust will erode. Ultimately, people don't just follow you for like the information that you provide. They follow you and they want to be a part of your ecosystem because of who you are, partly, right? It's the combination of value and your personality. So I think for majority of people, especially if you're a coach or if you're a service provider, don't just like blindly go and jump on this trend of generating AI clone of yourself and replace it like on social media just to save a couple of hours a week. The cost of that will be much higher. So if there is absolutely no real connection to real human in your brand, I think in the long term it will be a huge disadvantage. I think really understanding that trust is going to be increasingly important for you. You really need to keep it in mind when you decide what things you automate or what things you outsource to AI, and just like generally how you run your business. Which leads me to prediction number 3. Discernment becomes a core skill, not the mastery of one or another AI tool. Like, that's a huge and very important skill, of course. But I think the skill of being able to understand when to use AI and when to not use AI, not thinking, can I automate that? But instead, should I? Which leads to the previous prediction when we talked about trust. AI will increasingly make everything possible. If we think that now we create amazing apps and web pages by vibe coding, or we can create social media copy in a click, it's just going to be increasingly better and everything is going to be increasingly more possible. So I think this understanding and navigation of like from everything that is possible now, what should I put my energy into? The filter for navigating that could be simply asking yourself, do I enjoy this? If the answer is yes, if that's the whole reason why you started your business, don't automate it. Automate things around it that you don't like. Another question could be, does this build trust? If it's a core trust building activity, then don't automate that. Is this part of my unique value? If it is one of the things that differentiate you from everyone else, then don't delegate that to AI. And then another question you can ask, like, will this amplify or dilute the value that I can give? Sometimes AI can contribute to the value you give, but sometimes it will take away from it. So just like constantly navigating, asking those questions. There is no answer that would work for everyone. It's very contextual, it's very nuanced, but you need to be starting asking those questions. So, for example, if you're an artist and you want to monetize your art and your creative process is the whole reason why you're doing that, that brings you so much joy, do not delegate that entirely to AI. Do not delegate your voice or expression to AI, but instead you can automate things around that, things you don't enjoy. For example, like creating social media shorts from your art or emails that you send to your customers, like those kind of things that you can still add a layer of AI help. You don't need entirely to replace that, but you can really contribute to these processes becoming more in line with what you enjoy and don't enjoy doing. Everything that drains your energy is a candidate for automation. Everything that is admin or repetitive ops is a good candidate for automation. I would not delegate building relationship to AI. I will not create an automation to DM 1,000 people to tell about my service or get them on a call. If there's someone I want to reach out to and I genuinely want to work with them, I will do that. I will write a personal email. I can still get AI to voice note what I want to say and it will put it into the email, which would save me a lot of time. But that's what I'm saying, because this is so core for me. I wouldn't delegate this to AI. So the question is like, what is the most important things in your business? Why do people come to you? What differentiates you from everyone else? Keep that human. Don't just blindly automate or delegate to AI. Just because it can do something, it doesn't mean that you should use it for that. So the next prediction is moving away from this expert authority building towards more like, I'm a person on a journey. Let me share what I know kind of thing. Basically, it's about, this kind of very strong marketing narrative that you have to position yourself as an expert, you have to package your knowledge, you have to sell information. And I think the reason why this model is kind of breaking down is first of all, AI makes the information and knowledge abundant and it makes it commoditized. So to find information, people don't really need to go to people anymore, right? So it becomes commoditized through AI and everyone like eventually will realize that. If the only thing you give is information without your personal take, without your personal experience, like then I think you're in trouble. And so I think that's why the whole concept of an expert is not really valid anymore, because experts are people who have a lot of knowledge about a certain thing, and now AI is the expert. So I think people start following journeys of other people, someone who's starting somewhere and sharing their learnings along the way, sharing their perspective, how they navigate uncertainty, what problems they overcome, what solutions they create. So I think the edge that we're going to be seeing is not really positioning yourself as an authority and expert. I think the edge is not longer in what you know, it's more like how you see things and your ability to storytell this to other people. So I think it's much less of a like I've arrived, like I'm making 100K a month energy versus more of a this is what I'm learning, this is what I'm testing, this is what didn't work this month. I don't know if you feel the same or agree with this prediction, but I'm definitely seeing this shift for people who are service providers, or coaches, or course creators. It's not that these models go away. The value that you can give people shifts more towards encouraging more accountability, like, and creating formats for to help people with accountability. So perhaps it's more kind of human touch points in your programs. I think it's also about being comfortable with being seen for who you are and not pretending to be like this expert that fits into this box. Prediction number 5, AI literacy will become a real divider in society. It's not really about who has access to AI, right? Because pretty much everyone does, but it's rather who knows how to leverage it and how to think with it. It's the ability to ask better questions. It's the ability to see opportunities and explore opportunities. It's knowing when AI is wrong and how to deal with that. It's using it as a thinking partner, as a strategy partner, depending on your business, right? I think AI literacy is the new basic skill that everyone needs to become serious about. So it's not a skill that you sit down, you go a course and you sit down and you just like learn something and then you're good to go for the next few years. It's a skill that it's more like eating healthy or building a muscle. It's a muscle, essentially. You have to exercise it regularly. You have to try new things. You have to try different exercises to build certain types of muscles. So it is a process. It's not like I do this, I learn this, and then I'm done. I'm ready to go. It's not that. And I really want people to understand that, because most people are still just scratching the surface of how they're using AI. I can tell you from working with clients it's very apparent to me that majority of people, like the vast majority of people, still using AI just as like, double checking their grammar, writing their emails. So if you tried to create a product, tried vibe coding, or are creating content with the help of AI, you're just exploring all these different possibilities. You use it as your strategy partner and you've learned the prompting. You are so far ahead, like you have no idea. What I know for sure is that if you're not actively learning, if you're not actively building this muscle, by the time you arrive and start doing that, or more likely you're forced to start doing that, people who've already been even slowly building their muscle, they will be much more in better shape than you are. I think AI literacy will be a huge divider, both in terms of like, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, I think the divide will be huge there, but also like if you just have a regular job, you will be at such a disadvantage if you don't have the skill. Even if you not have to actively use it at work, but just knowing and understanding how to use it, this non-negotiable. Prediction number 6 is that one person business models and one person media companies will become much more widely spread model. So I think if we look at the old model that has been like build a product, then market it, then sell it, the new model is definitely build an audience first, talk about the things that you care, build trust by doing that, share what you've learned, and then you can monetize it in different ways, either through building a product, building a service, or through passive income streams. So I think in 2026, distribution is going to be far more valuable than any sort of single product or service. So this is something that is on my 2026. Like, I think this YouTube has been just the beginning of this journey, and I've seen so many amazing opportunities coming my way just because I started showing up online. So for 2026, I'm going to be really leaning more into content, not as an additional activity in my business, but this is going to be one of the main activities in my business, creating valuable content and short form as much as long form. It's a trust engine, right? When people interact with your content and get value from it, it builds trust. It's also a feedback loop. You have free market data of what people resonate with, what people need. It also sort of signals demands. So even if you're entering the space without having an idea what to sell, you will know because people will tell you. And it's ultimately like a essential business asset that everyone should be building. I think AI, first of all, the way how it supports this, it's just the ease of repurposing. So let's say you create original content for TikTok. Then you can just create an automation that will run every time you upload a new TikTok. It will remove the watermark, repurpose it for Instagram. It will repurpose it into threads, into LinkedIn post, into like Substack post, like whichever you want to be using, into Twitter, whatever. It basically multiplies your presence. I think a lot of people think that I should be on one platform, and that's absolutely the case because it's really overwhelming to be on all platforms. I haven't been able to be consistent with that. YouTube and my newsletter are long forms that I'm very consistent, but I'm gonna be going more into short form, and I'm going to really focus on creating valuable original content. So I'm not gonna outsource that to AI, and this content then AI will help in repurposing. I create one piece of content and then I repurpose it, which means that I kind of expand the exposure, how people can come into my ecosystem. I think the people who understand how to use AI here, not as a content machine creating AI content, but rather how to use it as a layer, as a machine that can distribute that. I think this is going to be a differentiator. So my next prediction actually has to do with one of the companies and platforms. And I predict, I believe it so strongly, that Google will go from a sleeping giant when it comes to AI into one of the most powerful players, if not the most powerful players in AI. In November, they shipped the most amazing thing, the new Gemini 3 Pro model, which, crashed all the benchmark because it became the most powerful LLM. And then it feels like things started clicking together. Their Nano Banana Pro model clicking together with this Gemini 3 model, which leads to the possibilities to create new things. And through Notebook LM, you can create like infographics and presentations. It's just there's like some sort of unlock that happened because Google has the ecosystem. They've been slower, but they put much more thinking into how can we leverage the ecosystem we have. And now when they arrived in having the most powerful model, like I think things gonna escalate really, really fast. And they're gonna see much more momentum in connecting these tools together, basically removing friction of going from one tool to another because everything can exist in the ecosystem. They have the calendars, they have access to email, documents, like all of those things. It's going to be really, really powerful. I'm here for it. I'm really excited for it because from what I'm seeing, at least like Notebook LM, that's one of my favorite tools that is still so underrated. If that's the level they're playing on and they're letting people use this for free, which generates incredible value for people, I think they're going to be winning because, well, OpenAI, they don't have the ecosystem. Claude, they don't have the ecosystem. Perplexity still don't have the ecosystem. Microsoft has the ecosystem, but their AI sucks. They don't have a proprietary model on par with the other models. So I think Microsoft kind of lost this game and just really going to leverage this poor enterprises that just locked into long contracts with Microsoft and using Copilot. So I don't consider Microsoft to be in the game, at least not for small businesses or solopreneurs. For me personally, it doesn't mean that I'm going to drop all the other tools and drop ChatGPT and Claude and so on. I don't mind paying for all those tools because I have kind of found different use cases I'm using it for that works for me. However, I will be paying much more attention and spending more time with Gemini and Google and Notebook LM and Nano Banana Pro and everything that they're creating. Hopefully, perhaps transition some of the use cases to that ecosystem. We'll see. But definitely on my radar, and I think we'll see some incredible things next year. My next prediction is that communities, community business models, communities in real life communities, online communities are going to become extremely powerful business models. Right now, AI is blurring like what is human, right? What is real. And people will still be seeking real and validated and safe spaces, both online and in real life. We've seen this incredible growth of platforms like School, for example, that lets you create memberships and communities where you can have your programs, courses, community feed, and events. I think this is still going to be growing exponentially. I think these platforms like School, they really create this space where, well, you can create belonging around anything, like any interest or passion or weird hobby you have. You can create your corner of the internet and bring the like-minded people in it. So this is, for example, why I've now prioritized creating my membership called AI Solopreneur Club. You can check it out in the description of this video. I'll add the link. This came from my own need when I stopped working in corporate and I became a solopreneur. There weren't that many people like myself in my network. I wanted to meet like-minded people. I've started this community where people on a similar journey, they come together, they learn together. This is the people who are on the same page. It's so valuable because you can have the conversations, you can share, you can inspire each other, you can support each other, you can help with accountability, you can ask questions, you can get support. So this for me becomes a business model that I'm really, really leaning into. I think it will challenge all the different platforms that are offering kind of parts of this ecosystem. I think memberships and communities, both digital and real life, will continue to grow rapidly. So I think most of those predictions are pointing to the same red threads, which is don't automate your humanity out of your business, exercise critical thinking and discernment over tools, prioritize presence and authenticity over perfection and polish. Ultimately is all about curiosity over conformity and trusting that. So I think the 2026 awards of the year would not go to people who like automated the most, but I think this year will actually reward people who think clearly, have intention, integrity, and understand what to leave human, and ultimately building what feels true to them. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I hope this woke up some thoughts in you that you will go ahead and explore going into the next year. Maybe it even kind of just gives you additional lens in your strategy for 2026 when you're sitting down with that and thinking like, where do you want your business to go? I really hope it's been helpful. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.